I start thinking that the economy of Ghana is back where it used to be at the pre-COVID levels. It isn't. When you begin to break down the sectors and sub-sectors, you will notice that the overall growth number marks some difficulties that the economy is still going through. The growth that we've seen, and indeed throughout the first 3 quarters of the year, has been driven by mining and quarry. Primarily, we've had some major gold mines opening in the northern part of Ghana, and they've been racking up production, and that is a big part of that. And the second sector has been ICT, and we've seen construction also do well. Now, the agri sector, which we see as extremely important, has been, its growth is okay, but it's not at the level we expect. Indeed, when you check cocoa production alone, first quarter of this year, cocoa production contracted by 20.2%. Second quarter, 26.2%. And the third quarter, the number that was just released, cocoa production contracted again, 26%. And we've seen sectors like water and sewage also contracting. So the overall number looks impressive, but when you begin to break them down, you see that there are still challenges. And then I think the other element to consider is, yes, the whole economy is growing, but if you look at the leading sectors and sub-sectors that are growing, the one I've just mentioned, what is the extent of Ghanaian participation in it? So if you speak to ordinary Ghanaians right now, they will tell you that the number that is being read has no bearing on them. And you can't begrudge them because the sectors that are doing well are sectors that have relatively minimum Ghanaian participation. And when those sectors do well, they don't tend to stimulate other sectors. The SME sector, the informal sector, where a lot of Ghanaians are actively participating, they are struggling. So while it might be true that the overall growth number we are seeing is the highest we've seen, since the pre-COVID era, it doesn't translate into saying that we are out of the woods, that Ghanaians' living standards are improving, because they are not.
Okay, thank you. So thank you on that. So I wanted to know that when you look at the agri sector, for instance, is that to say that the growth in the agri sector for the third quarter of 2024 is that low?
I think it's 5.9% overall. When you hear, no, actually, I think it's the crop sector that grew at 5.9. Overall, I mean, the growth rate for the agri sector is not terribly low, but I think what we have to understand when we are interpreting these growth numbers is that during the COVID, we saw growth go to under 1, and that means that it took our base very low. And then in 2021, we saw about 6.1. That is recovering. Since then, we've seen 2 years of extremely low growth. So ordinarily, if you even average out since the COVID years, our growth is still less than half of what we were doing prior to COVID. So while you just look at one sector, you can look at 1 quarter or 3 quarters and suddenly come to the conclusion that the economy of Ghana is back where it should be. Of course, the numbers show that there are positive signs, the growth is getting stronger, but then again, like I just explained, we can't just focus only on the headline number and forget that when we disaggregate, we begin to see problems. And I think that's how we should take it. It's more nuanced than just focusing on the headline number.
Okay, so Prof, when we look at the inflation and then the debt concerns being major issues in recent years, what role do you think the fiscal consolidation, debt restructuring efforts will play in sustaining the economy going forward, looking at what we have achieved now?
Well, I think
especially in 2025.
So when you take all the macroeconomic indicators together and not just begin to focus on one, don't forget that earlier in the year when inflation was declining, there was a tendency to keep pointing to inflation and say, oh, the economy is recovering. Now we've seen that the inflation is not declining as it was. Now the focus seems to be shifting to the growth rate. And then at some point, we now tend to focus on the exchange rate. I think we need to understand that the economy of Ghana is in extreme difficulty. And to be fair, 2025, even if you go by the IMF program, you're supposed to see greater fiscal consolidation. The question is exactly how do you do that consolidation? The current government has focused on trying to raise more taxes, impose more taxes to try and raise more revenue, which many of us don't see as a sustainable way. So let us hope that in 2025, when we have a new government, there will be a slight shift in focusing on bringing efficiency in government expenditure, cutting some of the public sector waste, and then also finding more sustainable ways of raising revenue, cutting all those exemptions that are not working in the interest of Ghanaians, as well as finding ways to improve compliance with the existing tax measures. I think that's what we should be looking at, rather than every single day impose a new tax and all that. That's been the difficulty that we find. So we hope that going forward there will be a shift in focus by way of the fiscal consolidation.
Okay, Prof, let me draw you to a conversation that we had with the Traders Advocacy Ghana yesterday, TAG. The president is saying that he is suggesting to the new government that the COVID levy should not be scrapped. What can you say to this?
Well, I don't know his basis for saying that. What if you ask me, what I'll say is that without blinking, the e-levy should be removed. Without blinking. The other tax handles, well, I mean, the COVID-19 levy, let's put it this way. If you put all those taxes together, it's about just over 5 billion cedis. Now, what you projected to collect for 2024 is just over 176 billion. So, in principle, if you scrap those taxes alone, you are going to lose less than 3% of the total revenue projected. Now, perhaps they are saying that because we are in a program and you shouldn't remove tax handles until there's a clear sense of how you're going to plug the hole. I'm not sure if that was the thinking. But, don't forget that scrapping some of these taxes was a big part of the campaign message. We expect that many Ghanaians will expect that will happen. What I would say is that we shouldn't be in a hurry. The government should communicate to us what alternative strategies for raising more revenue before we remove those taxes. But it's certainly doable. Even if we cancel a lot of the exemptions that we are giving, you will more than make up for whatever we are making from those three taxes.
Okay, thank you, Prof. Before I let you go, let me ask my last question. So what, in your opinion, are the key policy areas that you would consider ask the government, the new government, to focus on to ensure continued economic stability and growth?
I'll start with agriculture and food production.
Okay.
We've seen that in spite of all the positive or all the improvement in growth, agri sector is not doing well, food production is not doing well, and food prices are still rising. And I think that's very problematic. It's problematic for ordinary Ghanaians.
But Prof, we had the planting for food and jobs in place to cater for all these challenges.
Well, I mean, the persistence of the challenges tells you how those programs are performed. I don't think you don't need anyone to tell you. If you've had planting for food and jobs for 7 years, and food prices are rising the rate they are, and we are still importing basic foodstuff, it should tell you that whatever we did under planting for food and jobs, they haven't worked out well. I mean, let's be to be clear, I think that the idea behind planting for food and then also related to that, rearing for food and development and one village, one dam. On paper, they sound great, but we all know that the implementation has not gone well. So we need more investment in agriculture. Otherwise, if you allow food prices continue to rise, there will be problems.
Thank you so much, Prof.
You are welcome.
Do have a good morning and then a good day as well. So that was Professor Patrick Asuming. He is an economist. He came through for us on this particular topic where we looked at the pre-COVID era impact on the economy and then the rebound of the economy, as the president said, that we are back. But the question is, are we back from the woods? You hear from the experts. I believe that you have picked all the lessons that you have to get. That is all for Business Fix. Up next is our main discussion where we are looking at the election-related issues, all the contentions, the agitation, the coercions, and all the electoral officers that have complained that they were forced to declare some NDC parliamentary candidates under duress. We'll look at all that. We speak to the experts, we speak to the political parties, and then we also look at the act, what the act is saying about who should declare and who should not declare. We'll be right back. Thanks for staying with us. This is the main discussion. Just as I said, it's time to do politics. Time to look at all the nuances, the ups and downs concerning the elections. The presidential elections, it went smooth when it comes to putting the tensions on the ground, calming tensions and all that. The flag bearer of the NPP, Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia, made it so simple, and tensions were actually on the ground. Everything went calm. But we thought that was the end of it. We wouldn't experience or witness any form of tension. However, what is happening with the parliamentary elections, especially with some constituencies? So we had 9 key constituencies under contention. Majority of them in the eastern region. We have the Suhum, we have the Nsawam Eduajiri, we have Akwetia, we had Fantiakwa North. Yesterday, we also had the Weja Gbawe constituency, where some supporters of the NDC thronged the premises of the Electoral Commission, demanding redeclaration of results. To them, Ahmed Shaib of the NPP, who was not the actual winner of the parliamentary election in that constituency. And then we had one in Damongo, where the Electoral Commission's office was raised down by some irate youth. We've had pockets of issues, looting, vandalism, and all that. But then, to solve this whole issue, we had the constituencies under contention put together to be resolved, all their issues to be resolved at the Tesano Police Training School in Accra. So they all came down to Accra. They're coming to Accra is to find a solution to the whole problem. But we have some political parties also raising issues why we have to move the center from the various constituencies or the collation centers all the way to Accra. To them, it flouts the regulations governing the electoral processes and then its activities. The parliamentary election, just as I've said, on December 7th, a wave of controversies emerged as several losing candidates contested their results. Alongside the growing tensions, there have been disturbing reports of violence in some constituencies, raising critical questions about the integrity of the electoral process. This situation raises urgent concerns for the Electoral Commission, political parties, and the government, as Ghana's reputation as a pillar of democracy in West Africa is at stake. The main discussion, just as I've said, will focus on some of the key parliamentary candidates who have rejected the election results in their constituencies, as well as the contentions that have characterized the declaration processes. In some areas, this escalated to violent confrontations, with candidates struggling to accept the outcomes. Take the case of Tema Central constituency, for instance, where the Tema West municipal election officer, John Nunu, announced that Ibi Bright of the NDC won the parliamentary seat with 18,539 votes, narrowly defeating Charles Forson of the NPP, who secured 18,421 votes. Despite this announcement, the NPP refused to accept the result, challenging the final count issued by the Electoral Commission. The situation then in Tema Central became so tensed that the collation of votes, which began on the 9th of December 7 at Chemu Senior High Technical School, had to be halted and moved to the Tema Regional Police Command on December 9 due to escalating disagreements. Tensions reached a boiling point where police fired tear guns to disperse crowds, resulting in one Electoral Commission official collapsing early in the next morning. And then when you go to Gushegu, we also had the NDC candidates receive Mali rejecting the parliamentary results, alleging incident of overvoting. Meanwhile, when you come to Accra, Ablekuma North, we also had frustrations escalating into violence, where the NDC supporters clashed with law enforcement and even storming the Accra regional office of the Electoral Commission. Although the results for the Ablekuma North were eventually declared, NPP's Nana Equia Ewusu Efriye continued to challenge the outcome. These are just few examples of the electoral unrest that unfolded since the results were announced. As we delve deeper into this development, we will also explore the legal aspect of these election disputes and attempt to understand why some candidates refuse to accept the results despite official declarations. A significant reference some parliamentarians have made is the popular saying, elections are won at the polling centers. This notion has been particularly articulated by some of the NDC MPs who assert that the lessons learned from the 2020 election prompted them to be vigilant this year. Now, there's also the concern of how swiftly the legal redress process will be should disgruntled parliamentary candidates resort to court, given the impunity enjoyed by sworn-in members of parliament under the constitution, that is the Article 117 and then 118. Let us take a look at the provisions under this article. Process coming from any court or place out of parliament shall not be served on or executed in relation to the speaker or a member or the clerk to parliament whilst he is on his way to attending at or returning from any proceedings of parliament. So what it seeks to say is that yes, we have some members, some parliamentary candidates agitated. They are not happy how things unfolded. The results didn't go in their favor. The question now is that in 2020, we all know it became a cliche. It became a normal statement to every other person that if you really want to win the election, it is won at the polling station. So now that at the polling stations or the polling centers, things didn't go down well for some of the parliamentary candidates, should they resort to the court? And with what the article is also saying, it then means that whoever that has been declared as winner of the elections, that person will continue to be the winner until overturned by court. And the article is also saying that the moment the person is sworn in, you cannot serve the person. What then becomes the fate of all those who are not happy with their results, those who want to seek legal redress? Patrick Yabuama, Okankwe South, Okankwe Central, or the ticket of the MPP, released a statement that he will seek legal redress. But what is the fate of all this if we should take it to court? That is not to say that we do not believe in the justice system. We do believe in the justice system, but then how swiftly would that be? And then also, how will you be able to grab your seat and be declared winner when the person or the parliamentary candidate is already serving sworn in as a parliamentary elect? So to help me do this discussion, we will speak to Roxin Kondi Masoon. He's a director of operations at Senko. We'll do that via Zoom. And then also we also speak to Mr. George Sapon. We will speak to Mr. George Sapon, the Executive Secretary of the National Media Commission. The reason is that we had some media houses projecting some results that are actually not the true picture from the collation centers. And because of the emergence of social media, we also have some people taking screenshots of some results on certain TV stations and then putting it out there, spreading falsehood. That is misinformation and misleading the public, inciting the people. A critical case has to do with the Insawam Edrejuri case, where there was a viral picture of Anodompre and then the other contenders stating that he has lost the elections, which didn't go down well. However, TV3 came out to say that that is not actually what they projected. We still have people who are misusing and abusing social media to mislead people. So as we are an election year, or still we are still in the election process, and we are trying to resolve things and then ensure that the tensions and agitation in the system is being put under control. ABC News, your poll center, is here to ensure and also to sensitize you that you are not to share information that you cannot actually bend your life on, or you don't have proof to it. Because the more you do that, you are inciting the public, and you have to put a stop to that. That is why we'll be speaking to Mr. George Sapon, the Executive Secretary of the National Media Commission, to help us out on this kind of issues. And also we'll also speak to Richard Denfi, a member of the MPP communications team. A lot is happening. When you look at the current the results that have so far churned out, you could see that the MPP is not having the numbers in parliament, and then the NDC is having, let me say, the super majority in parliament. However, that is not to say that the MPP shouldn't fight for what belongs to them, because their members invested so much, their resources, their energy, they campaigned, they rallied. They went through all the nights, the hell, and everything to ensure that they come out victorious. So they cannot sit aloof and then watch their parliamentary candidate being pushed under the table, or in the guise of the NDC is winning. Even if the NDC is winning, the other constituencies that belongs to the MPP, or the results that have so far come out, if it goes in favor of the MPP, it must be so. There shouldn't be any form of contention, fights, and then all tempers flaring up yesterday at the Tesano Police Training School. When you also look at Dome Kwamenya, for instance, we have the parliamentary candidate of the MPP, that is Michael Kwe Jr. He's also not happy with how things unfolded in the constituency, where the declared winner who contested on the ticket of the NDC, Eli Kbilin Akurugu, was declared the winner. He's also not happy with it. So before we engage our guests, let us take you back to what happened yesterday at the police training school, where there was some serious contention between the NDC and then the MPP. Let us take a look at that.
Afenyo Markin yesterday held a press conference and invariably accused the NDC of distracting the polls and creating chaos all over, which is palpably false. We all know how the MPP operates and how we decried the involvement of the military in this election. The MPP insisted in using military in this election. Most of the chaos that have been caused in this election at collation centers, at polling station centers, were caused by military and policemen who invariably were working for the MPP. For example, in Nsawam, Madam Zita Okakwe, Ambassador Zita Okakwe Benson was there. Madam Zita Benson was at the station when the military invaded the collation center. Shot people, one person died. The parliamentary candidate of the MPP, who is the sitting MP, actually shot somebody himself. He is still working free. We had demanded the arrest of the MP. Nobody is saying anything. There are so many police officers here. It has been captured on video. He is shooting that gentleman. He is still sitting here. Nobody has said anything. What has necessitated most of the young people of this country rising to protect our democracy is that the security agencies are in cahoots with the MPP and they have failed to act when there is a need to act. At the various police stations where the police service are supposed to act, they don't act. Where the military are not supposed to be, they are. The military are heavily weaponized. You saw what happened in Obuasi East when the military carried guns into the police station. When we had agreed at the National Election Security Task Force that no gun, zero tolerance for guns at the police stations. But we saw military men carrying heavily loaded arms at the police station, to the extent that a citizen had to rise and confront them and fight them and try to seize the guns. And so we have seen violence, state-sponsored violence, perpetuated by the government and Afenyo Markin and his people in this election. Afenyo Markin's constituency is the worst culprit. As we speak, the vice chairman of the NDC has gone missing from Saturday. We have been looking for him and we can't find him. In fact, before he got missing, he had been beaten mercilessly. We have seen the photos and the videos of the gentleman.
I wish you could share that with us.
Yes, it's available. It's on social media. He has been beaten mercilessly with swollen faces, cutlass wounds, and now he's missing. Nobody knows where this person is. The police are quiet. Ghana Police Service has not issued any statement on this matter. Afenyo Markin is working here scot-free and is making noise, creating distraction at these collation centers. And so if somebody speaks and calls out Afenyo Markin for his disrespect, his disregard, and his empty vituperations, it is rightly so. And it is important that he knows that this country is not for him. The days where they will do anything and speak anyhow and misconduct themselves anyhow has ended. And he must know his place now, because the people of Ghana said enough is enough. And that is why they have been rejected. And so if they have been rejected, if they are minority, their so-called majority, which ended up minority, has been reduced to a miniature minority, they should heal their wounds, regroup, and look at the way forward.
It is one of those steps that have resulted in a very peaceful way. But I think that our colleagues in the NDC must be tolerant. They must be tolerant. If they cannot take opposing views, then of course they are not democrats. What is it that is going here that amount to disrespect to President? Stop there. Stand up. It's too early in the day for you to start inciting people. I think that stand up is too early in the day.
So that is Peter Otokuno, Dr. Peter Otokuno of the NDC, and then also Afenyo Markin of the MPP. Is actually the majority leader in Parliament. Parliament will reconvene on the 16th of December 2024. We will take place our men in Parliament and follow keenly how proceedings will be. But before that, we have on the line Richard Jenfi of the MPP communications team, and then also Mr. Konde, Roxanne Konde, Operations Director at Senko, George, Operations Director at Senko, to have a discussion. Good morning, gentlemen. Thanks for having you on ABC in the morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, Madam Eddie.
I believe. Let me start with you, Mr. Konde. As an observer, you've been monitoring elections for quite a number of years now. What do you make of these detentions in this 2024 election, especially with those under contention, the parliamentary candidates, their issues and their concerns?
Okay. Good morning to you, AB, and your crew.
ABC.
The team at ABC.
Yeah.
Yes. And then good morning to your viewers and listeners. As a matter of fact, I think that this year's election would have gone peacefully as we all saw in the presidential elections, especially with His Excellency Dr. Mahmoud Maubia coming out early to concede defeat and calling the victor, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, the president-elect. However, if you look at what is currently happening with the parliamentary results, if care is not taken, it will degenerate this country into something else. As a matter of fact, if it was just left with what happened with the presidential election, I would have given Electoral Commission thumbs up that they have performed above what we were all expecting, and that is what we were all calling on them to do the right thing. And if you look at presidential result, the way they conduct elections, and in fact, even parliamentary results, until these incidences of what disagreement between parliamentary candidates, I would have said that Electoral Commission has done a yeoman's job, and we need to commend them. When they got it right, we need to commend them. When they are getting it wrong, we need to criticize them and point out to them that, look, you are getting it wrong here. Now, my observation of what is happening in these parliamentary contentions, this one, I will put it solely at the doorsteps of Electoral Commission. Some of the officers of the Electoral Commission, they are creating this tension between political parties. We all know that a moment election result is declared by an assigned electoral officer, whether you are happy with it or not, nobody, not even the commissioner of EC, can annul already declared results. The only body authorized to do that, especially when it has to do with parliamentary result, is the High Court, and at best, an appeal can be made to the Court of Appeal. So now you have electoral officers declaring people. Whatever fraudulent declaration could be, whether it is right or not, it doesn't matter. That EC does not have mandate or authority to say that we are now calling the results or the declare or purported declare results to regional coalition center to recollate and declare. What they are doing amount to illegality, and I'm even surprised political parties are allowing them to do that. If results are declared and you are not happy, you think you are being cheated, the Constitution gives you opportunity to go to the High Court. If you are dissatisfied with the High Court decision, you can appeal to the Court of Appeal, which is the last arbiter when it comes to parliamentary results. Now, we are now seeing a new phenomenon where EC officials, they assign these officials, they declare results, a parliamentary candidate say the result was not properly declared or properly collated and declared. Then you see another EC officer say, my superior will come and recollate. And declare a different person. What are we doing? It doesn't, look, I can tell you, and I love the way Honorable Patrick Boama is going. He's not happy with the results. He has indicated clearly that, look, he will seek redress in the court. That is the way it should go, so that these tensions can be minimized. What they are doing now, I can bet you if care is not taken, you will see more of these constituencies across the country, and that could lead to insecurity of this country. I can tell you there are a lot of contention of constituencies in the northern sector. I can tell you, Pandai, for instance, there's an issue, serious issues. There's issue in Bimbala where the defense minister is, serious issues over parliamentary results. I can tell you Gushegu, and you mentioned Gushegu, there are serious issues there. I can tell you issues at Damango, serious issues there. We didn't see electoral commission calling that we want to recollect and declare these results. The individual candidates that are not happy are seeking redress in court. What is so special that other constituencies, EC will now call people to come back, to come and recollect. And when they are recollecting, they don't have some of the pink sheet. Look at the issue of Zoom, for instance. You are coming to recollect. Through your recollection, about 6 police station results were challenged. Now, if you put these 6 police station numbers and they will not influence the results, then you can go ahead to declare. But we all know, and he's even told us yesterday, if I'm right, that if you put these 6 police station results, they are going to turn the result either way. On what basis do you have to declare that result? What they should have done is to have hold on to the declaration, either go and rerun these 6 police stations or get their figures right. Then whoever wins, you declare the person. But you go and declare the person, knowing very well that if you add these 6 police station results, they are going to influence the outcome of the result either way. And I think that EC need to sit up. They need to be clear that, look, if our officials declare results and you think that if the result was declared under duress, they go to court. And you see, you don't just go to court and tell the court that I was under duress. You need to prove to the court that, yes, indeed, you declared the results under duress, and the court will annul the result. That will amount to illegality. So I don't see why they are putting the country into this kind of tension when they know the right thing to do. So for me, my preliminary submission is that it is Electoral Commission that is creating this tension and confusion. The political parties, if you give them opportunity, either MPP, NDC, they will exploit it. They will exploit it to the fullest and create tension in the country. As an arbiter, as a professional body, a constitutional mandated body, you don't have to set aside constitutionally provided procedure and try to create some erroneous procedure which is alien to our electoral process. I think EC needs to stop what they are doing. If not, they will increase the tension in this country. And look at the way the outgoing president, His Excellency Nana Akufo-Addo, and incoming president, His Excellency John Mahama, the transitioning, they made the whole country come to terms that, yes, we are one people. Now you EC are not going back and creating these unnecessary tensions. When you know the right thing, your job has been done. Wash your hands off. Those who are not happy, they should go to court. And I believe that what the court has put in place, it is not the time that election dispute can take years. I think these days, parliamentary, it will not even take more than 6 months for the court to come out with a decision. And we are all good to go. So that's what I have to say for now.
Okay, thank you very much. I will come back to that because I actually wanted to engage you on the Tema Central issue. When you mentioned about
yes,
the electoral officers not playing their roles well, I will come to that because the electoral officer at the Tema Metro released a statement.
Yes.
And he explained and actually outlined all the issues and the incidences that happened over there. Because just as you are saying that the political parties are actually those behind this whole thing. We also had the NDC members or team going to the Tema Central, the collation center at the Chemu, where we had Malik Basintali, we have Dr. Hannah Bisu, we have Dafian forcing the electoral officer over there to declare Ibi Bright. Meanwhile, they had 3 polling centers that they were supposed to have been collected. And according to the release, if they had added it to it, the MPP parliamentary candidate for the constituency would have won by 55 votes against Ibi Bright.
That's
However,
right.
you let me hold
That's
my
right.
gun there. I'll come back to you.
Okay.
And then pick the thought from Jenfi of the MPP. Yeah, hello, Jenfi, please, are you on the line?
Okay.
I am.
Good.
Good morning to you. And
Good morning, and thanks for having you. Why are the political parties, why are you flaring up, creating tensions, when your leader, the flag bearer of the NPP, the peaceful man, he conceded early hours of the elections? Why don't you let the sleeping dogs lie?
Thank you very much. I think this question is highly pregnant with misconception. Why do I say so? I think that your questions to my colleague who just spoke and listening to his explanation, for me, if I had to take off my political party attire or hat off, I think that it is a bit disingenuous, because we've all seen what actually occurred. There are situations where NDC tags actually forcing the electoral officers to declare. We've seen videos with high-ranking members of the NDC actually molesting and beating these officers to declare results on their favor. Now, there's a portion in the CI 127, and unfortunately where I am, I don't have it with me, but you can cross-check or fact-check later. We have every right to cause or to call for recollation, especially when it comes from the parliamentary candidate. It is in the CA, and I think that it's unfortunate that where I am, I don't have it with me. But we've all gone through trainings and workshops and knows how these things work. What is happening is that they are taking advantage, as you rightly said. Our flag bearer is a man of peace. He didn't wait for up to 12 hours and conceded defeat. So one would have thought that this man, looking at all the pressures, looking at the expectation of his party, how assiduously we worked, he still didn't contemplate and conceded defeat less than 12 hours. It has never happened in any African country but Ghana. We would have thought that this was going to set the tone for peaceful transfer of power. Unfortunately for us, the NDC and their tags decided to take advantage of the peaceful pact that the Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia has had with Ghanaians, and decided to take the power in their own hands, starting from Techiman, Suhum, Insawam, and other 16 constituencies. My sister, if you say the political parties are trying to flare up this country, I think it is wrong. There's only one political party who is trying to monopolize the electoral system, and that is NDC. So as I speak to you, we are with the EC. It's unfortunate that the security apparatus, I heard the video that you played, or the soundbite that you played, that one, I don't know who was talking, I think Okutono.
So we had Peter Otokono of the NDC, and then we also had Afenyo Markins of the MPP. But then I want to ask you a question. When you say the political parties are not those behind the tensions, when you look at the Fantiakwa North incident, for instance, a clear example where the Constitution says that the returning officer is supposed to declare the winner, but it was done in the absence of the returning officer. It was a deputy who did it, and according to what he said, the returning officer declared the NDC, and then the following day, a few hours, then the deputy also came to declare the MPP. So can you tell me that the political parties, you are not behind all these tensions?
No, so the political parties cannot declare themselves winners. it is the EC officers who are supposed to declare Party A, Party B. So in that scenario, I do not see why one should blame the political party.
Is it not the political parties behind it? Because it favors you, it favors the NPP, it favors the NDC. So situations where you have to speak out, you are not able to do so.
My sister, you are doing hypothesis. We are speaking what is happening. So does it mean that all the constituencies that were declared for NDC, because they were declared for NDC, it means that the NDC has induced the electoral officers? What we are saying is that the attitude that preempted these actions, and it is only one political party who has been seen on social media, vivid evidence, molesting and abusing the electoral officer to force them to declare in their favor. I'm yet to see any video or any evidence where MPP supporters have put the electoral officers into a difficult situation for them or forcefully push them to declare for us. I've seen the video of Santiago, and you could clearly see that the officer who declared for Honorable Kwame, I've forgotten the name, who declared for him was under no duress. We've seen Ablik Manoff, we've seen Okaikwe Central, we've seen Tema Central. It is clearly, evidently clear that the NDC wants to take over the whole country and subject us into violence. So if we are speaking and want to be objective, we need to call a spade a spade. It didn't take 24 hours for our leader to concede. And one would have expected that. NDC, you've had over 180 seats in parliament. Why do you subject this nation into such a fierce hostility?
No, so is that to say that if the NDC also feels cheated or not being given that opportunity to take the remaining seat that belongs to them, is that to say that even if they have the numbers, they shouldn't still fight for what belongs to them? Would you have done same?
Yes, we would have done that in the rightful manner. The difference here is that they have resorted to violence and pushing unnecessary pressure on these innocent officers to forcefully declare for them. That is the problem we are facing. If we have lost fair and clear, I do not think that we will master this unnecessary courage, organized tasks to go and take siege of these government buildings and set them ablaze. That is not what NPP stands. That is not what NPP represents. What I'm saying is that if we've lost fair and square, there shouldn't be any problem. But there are issues when people are being forced to pronounce and declare people who have not been elected by the good people of these constituencies in question.
So why don't you encourage your members to then take it to court? Because that's exactly what happened in 2020. Every issues about election related tensions, violence, the results, and all the agitations. The question
so
is,
like I clearly stated, that the PCs have every right to call for recounting, to call for recollation. And that is what they are doing. So after those steps have been achieved, and yet one is still not satisfied, that is where they can see regress from the High Court. I understand perfectly. But you see, we've had precedents, unfortunately, where there are a lot of doubts when it comes to these things. We have situations where some court challenges or parliamentary candidacy challenges have been run out for the full 4 years.
So is that to say you don't believe in the justice system?
I am not saying. I'm saying that precedent has really cast doubt in these situations. So if you are able to sort it now and then, why wait for it to drag 6 months to 4 years?
So don't you also believe it is the very reason why the NDCs also may be behaving the way they are doing? If you take it to court and to you believe that it will drag, and even at the end of the 4 years, if you don't take it, the one declared winner will continue to serve in parliament. as the MP, and then the one who is agitated wouldn't see the light of day, it then means that is exactly why the NDC is also doing the same thing, isn't it?
No, it's not. We are challenging rightfully. We are requesting for recollation. We are requesting for recounting. Whereas the NDC is using violence, beating officers, meeting party people, beating them and burning pink sheets. So there are clear distinctions between the two. And I find it very unfortunate to think that what the NDC is doing is equally to what MPP is doing. MPP is using the lay down procedures to seek redress, whereas the NDC and the Atagri are using violence and forcing people to declare in their favor. There is a distinct line between the two parties.
Okay, so right, I'll come back to you shortly, but before that, let me go to Mr. Konde of Senko. Mr. Konde, please, are you there?
Yes, I'm there.
Thank you very much. So
okay, to respond to the Tema question you posed to me, let me first make a comment on my colleague's submission that they are calling for recollation. They are right to call for recollation. Nobody is saying that when results are collated and you are not happy, you cannot call for recollation. That is done. But that is done before the declaration is made. You cannot wait when the declaration is made, then you are not calling for recollation. The moment the declaration is made, the only avenue available for redress is for you to challenge the declaration in court.
And that is why he's saying that it might delay. It might delay. That is why Jemfi said that yes, you can take it to the court. However, the swiftness of the case is a problem.
But that does not guarantee you to indulge yourself in illegality by recollating. Recollating amount to illegality. Because it will delay, you resort to illegality. Doing illegal thing because you think that if the case go to court, it will delay.
Mr. Konde, are you saying that the recollation of results is actually an illegal act to do?
Not general recollation. What I mean is that if you want to go and recollate results after the results has been declared, it is not right. It is illegal. You can recollect.
Which part of the CI says that it is illegal?
I don't have the acts now. I don't have the act now. But if you look at the CI 127, I don't want to quote it wrong. You can recollect when there have not been declaration. You can recollect when they have not declared the result.
Richard, you can come in, but I want him to finish speaking so that you come in to react to his suggestions.
Will you imagine
my colleagues that attention to the fact that the problem is what preceded the declaration. There are statements out there that people are being forced to declare, so it makes the declaration itself illegal. That is what we are contesting.
Exactly. Okay. So, Mr. Richard, I hope I got your name right.
Yes.
Yes, you did, Mr. Konde.
Yeah, Mr. Richard, that is what I'm saying. We are virtually saying the same thing. For the fact that the person was declared, made to be forced to declare the result, that made it illegal. That is why you challenge the illegality in court. But you don't correct illegal thing with another illegal thing. That's my point. I don't have problem. MPP not happy with what was done, and I will never support anybody forcing EC official to declare result. So if the person is indulging in illegality, the better forum is not for you to also use illegal means seeking to correct it. You ought to seek redress in court. And we can see the similar thing happen in 2020. Zamzugu, EC official was forced to declare results. Nobody called for recollation. The person seek redress in court. Then we had incident in 2020. Tashima sat again. Nobody called for recollation. It never happened. They went to court. So what has changed? Yes, there must let respond to the Tema issue.
Okay.
Yes, you are alluding to the fact that you NDC officials, which I don't speak for NDC as a CSO, forced the electoral officer to declare the results.
That is for the statement released by the electoral officer over the thermometer.
Yes. Okay. Yes, I read the statement. Yes, so that is what he's saying.
Yeah.
That even called for IGP to call these people to answer questions. Okay? And send them to court if they did that. But we cannot say because the guy claimed he was forced to declare the result, we should set the law aside and go and do recollation. With what we are doing, I can bet you, AB, on the swearing in of Parliament, we are likely to have 2 MPs or potential MPs representing one constituency. Mark my words. If care is not taken, you still see 2 people coming up that they are coming to be sworn in, and that will create a serious problem at Parliament on the January 6th. We can't do these things. If you are not happy, either you seek an injunction for the person swearing in, or you go to court for the court to annul that result.
Mr. Conde, not to catch you, but yesterday we spoke to a legal practitioner, lawyer Yao Dakwa, and he says that you cannot injunct a PC elect because the Article 117 in Parliament says that the moment the person is declared the winner, the moment the person is sworn in as a parliamentary candidate, it ceases. You cannot serve the person while the person is in the house. So there's no way we will have injunction placed on any PC.
Even though I'm not a lawyer, I have read the Constitution cover to cover. The article you quoted say MP, not PC. And they say MP because say one is from Parliament, attending upon Parliament, or returning from Parliament. PC elect. PC elect is not an MP. It's not an MP, so it can be said respectfully. If it's an MP, that is a different ballgame together. And I think that the current speaker and the Chief Justice has even put up administrative procedure whereby they have a specific day that you can serve them. So that is not entirely correct, respectfully to the lawyer, even though I know I'm not a lawyer. So respectfully to him, you may need to reconsider that. There's vast difference between MP elect and MP. MP elect is not an MP until he's sworn in.
So that is what I'm saying, that if the person is sworn in, at what point are you suggesting that an injunction can be placed on the person? At what point?
But before, we have from now to January 6th, that court process can be served. If he feel, for instance, Mr. Honorable Patrick Boama's case, I'm not saying this is what he's doing. He's saying he's going to court. He can go to court and challenge the results now so that the MP is not sworn in. So you don't wait for the man to swear in and say because he's an MP you cannot serve him. Even that is not entirely correct. You can still serve an MP. We saw MPs going to court at Tufosin and Co. How were they served? Jachukwesin, how was he served? Was it not an MP? So if anybody is telling you because the person is an MP, you cannot serve him, I beg to differ.
Okay, so to you, all the aggrieved parliamentary candidates, if they really want to seek legal redress, they have to do it now. The time is now, and not after when they have been sworn in. Right?
Absolutely.
Okay. So, Richard, what are you going to tell your people? Are you going to go by the advice of Mr. Conde?
Absolutely not. We are not going to go by that.
Okay. So, what are you going to do?
We have put the statement out there. The public is in the know that this conundrum that we find ourselves in are being orchestrated and propagated by the NDC thuggery and violence. We shouldn't sit aloof thinking that because in an ideal situation we should seek redress in the court, whereas the Constitution itself gives us the mandate to challenge and seek for recounting and recollation. We think that we should exploit that avenue available to us, and with the understanding that we have from yesterday, we are recollating, and the EC will duly declare in areas where we believe that we've been forcefully been disadvantaged. As I speak to you, we've been able to successfully collated with the EC and the other stakeholders, Suhum, Fantia Panov, and hopefully today we will continue with Isawama Dwajiri, and then we move on to Techiman South, Obuasi East, Ahafua North, Ahafua North South, West, and then hopefully we will conclude with the Tema Central, Kankwi Central, and Ablekuma North. The only exception, or the exogenous one, is where Honorable Patrick Boama has hinted that he's going to seek redress in the court. But for the rest of the other parliamentary candidates, from our point of view, is that we believe there are own internal collated results, and it is quite intriguing that based on our own internal collation, the whole country was actually applauding, because it was through our internal coalition that His Excellency Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia used to concede defeat. And so we have every trust in our internal coalition that these marked constituencies that I mentioned, we have duly elected parliamentary candidates there. And therefore, before we move a notch further, we think that we are going to exploit what the Constitution and the CI 27 says, that we should seek recollation and recounting. And that is what we are doing, the former. We are doing the recollation at the centers, including all the stakeholders, so that the proper thing must be done. I must admonish and caution the NDC, and I'll repeat what Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia said. You've won an election through democratic means. You didn't win an election through coup d'etat. So the violence must stop. The right things must be done. We should follow the due process as the MPP we have been doing. Let no one force people to declare in their favor. We have the pink sheet. Most of them, they met them and beat people and bend them. But we in the age of technology.
So if the pink sheets are being bent, so which of them, Jeffy, I want to come in. If you have the pink sheets, and then in other quarters we do hear some of the members saying that the pink sheets were bent, just as you've also repeated. So what pink sheets are you going to use?
Well, so like I said, per our internal coalition, every pink sheet was sent to our internal coalition for us to do the calculation, and through which our candidates conceded. So we do have the pink sheet digitally that we are able to produce in court, because it has their party agent's signature right on. So that is why we are still adamant that we shouldn't be cowed into this conceding where we know that we've won, just because the NDC is doing these illegal activities, using violence.
Do you feel threatened? Do you feel threatened? Do you feel threatened?
I think the whole country should feel threatened. If NDC have won with over 2.5 million votes, they have won over 180 parliamentary seats, and yet still the security of this country is questionable, is shaky, is flawed, it should tell you that only God knows if this election has gone the other way. It is clear that the NDC had a preemptive mind to restore this country into flames. They've shown a glimpse of it. But I am urging our party people to continue to support the leadership of the party, to continue to support their PCs in this fight. They are not alone. We are with them. For the threats that we receive day and night, we believe in the fairness of this country. We believe in the security forces, and I think that this will cease when reality dawns on them that they actually are in power to govern, but not to bully the good people of this country.
Jemfi, let me come in and then ask you this particular question. I want to know, so if you are able to reclaim all the seats under contention, what will be your number in Parliament?
So we, as I speak to you, when we added yesterday, we had 79. We still have,
which is still below the marks, isn't it?
Even if we had 100, it's still below the mark.
Exactly.
The mark that we set ourselves was to be majority in parliament.
With the total number of how many MPs?
No, I'm saying that the target we set for ourselves was to be majority in parliament.
Okay.
But that is not to say the fact that we didn't get, we should allow others to use foul means to bully people
and
who
aside the foul means and then the bully, let me understand. What can you use your number to do? What change, what significant change would your number bring to Parliament when it comes to, being the responsible
You are missing the point. For every constituency, there are people, there are a citizenry, a population that have vested their confidence in one particular person to go and speak on their behalf. It's not a matter of what you can do. When the parliamentary goes to the parliament, he is going to speak in favor of the people that sent him there. So whether we had only 1 seat, 2 seats, or 3 seats, it doesn't matter.
Don't you think, Jeffy, don't you think?
Let me finish, please. These people are going to represent the number of people who vested their trust and confidence in them. So it's not a matter of how many can you do. Then we should cede all the seats to NDC to have 276 like we did in 1992. It is not going to happen because people have vested and invested in becoming parliamentary candidates.
Exactly.
And you cannot use foul means to disenfranchise them. That is what we are saying. Even if it is one, we will make sure that the right thing is done.
Good. You make sure the right thing is done. But then let me come to the question, the reason why I asked that particular question. When you look at the 8th Parliament, you had 137, and then one independent, which eventually joined the MPP. But then look at how things unfolded with the 8th Parliament. That is why I asked that with the 79, would you be able to be responsible enough as the minority to hold the government in power? Definitely they will table businesses, deals, contracts, and then name them. How are you going to ensure? Because they have the numbers. That is why I asked that particular question.
Yes, I agree with you. They have the numbers, but the current Ghanaian is discerning enough to read between the lines.
Okay.
The minority in parliament, even if 10, 15, are going to make sure that the business of parliament will be. Now, for you journalists in particular, this government signed the right to information, so they cannot conceal the deeds that will be done in parliament. Good. I can assure you that with this number, they are going to be the most vociferous minority we've had in decades. You mark it on the wall. So it doesn't matter. If they are thinking that with the supermajority they are going to bully as they've started, they should think again. This minority is to make sure that any business of government that will pass through parliament will come to the light of day for everybody, for the public to know. And we are going to decide at the end of the day whether they did a good business with their majority or not. We were punished in 2020 when we had absolute control, 169 member of parliament. The Ghanaian electorate punished us in 2020. It became 137, where by virtue of Fomena MP joining us to make us the majority. What I'm saying is that the supermajority will account to nothing when they think that they are going to use that to bully and conceal illegalities in parliament. We will punish them when the time comes.
Richard Gyamfi, thank you so much for your time and then your submissions. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Mr. Conde, are you on?
Yes, I'm on.
Okay, your final words. Just a minute.
You asked a very solid question that if the pink seats are banned, say some of the pink seats are banned, what are they using for recollation?
Exactly.
And he said, look, they have their internal, they have sent their internal. So it means that EC is not relying on MPP pink sheet to collate. Is that what they want us to believe? That's just the question for the Ghanaians to judge. 2, my final question is that if EC did not stop this recollation, calling for recollation of result that has already been declared, I can bet you will see the kind of violence that we experienced in this collation center. And I want to tell IGP to be alert that look, if they don't stop that these illegalities, I can bet my last coin that look, people will resist this kind of illegalities. 2, we are likely on the swearing-in day of Parliament to have 2 MPs coming to represent one constituency. And you and I can attest the kind of chaos and insecurity will create in this country. We have conducted elections successfully, peacefully, transparently. Anybody, and I re-emphasize, any MP that is not happy with the outcome of the results should learn from Honorable Patrick Boama, should learn from Kwanda MP, Honorable Insala. Okay, you cannot use any other means to overturn already declared parliamentary results except High Court or Supreme Court. And I want to call on EC to go by the law and stop creating new things that are what? Strange to our electoral process. So that is my final submission.
Thank you so much, Mr. Konde, for your time.
Thank you. Most grateful.
It has been an exciting discussion on this particular matter. And it continues because we are still in the election era, a lot of issues, agitations coming up. So thank you, Mr. Konde. Okay, so we spoke to Richard Denfrey of the NPP and then also Richard Konde of Senko. He is an election observer. We tried to reach the National Media Commission, the executive director, Mr. Sapon, but we're not able to do so. However, that particular the topic with media reportage on the elections, social media churning out information, misleading the public, we'll still revisit it next week, God willing. However, let us take a quick look at Parliament briefly before we end the discussion. On the 16th of December, which is Monday, Parliament is reconvening again. And when I talk about Parliament reconvening again, I know what comes to mind. So the Speaker of Parliament, Alban Bagbin, in a press release yesterday, has announced that Parliament will reconvene on Monday, December 16, 2024, at the Ground Arena of the Accra International Conference Center. This announcement follows a circular issued by the Speaker's office on December 11, which officially confirmed the location for this highly anticipated parliamentary session. The directive comes after a previous notice issued by the Speaker Bagbin on December 2, calling for Parliament to resume its function. The selection of this date and venue is particularly significant as it coincides with the ongoing political discussions and preparations for the post-election period in Ghana. The call for Parliament to reconvene has sparked considerable debate within Ghanaian political circles, especially given the timing and circumstances of the announcement. Speaker Bagbin had previously received repeated requests from the majority in Parliament to call for a session before December 7 general elections. These requests were motivated by the electoral processes and the need for legislative actions in the lead-up to the elections. However, Speaker Bagbin opted to maintain the original reconvening date. Several key issues are on the minds of Ghanaians. Will the two major caucuses, that is the NPP and then the NDC, attend, especially now that the outgoing majority is set to become the minority? What will happen to the various parliamentary businesses which are crucial for the transition before the new parliament begins? To gain further insight, we'll be engaging a parliamentary watcher with the Parliamentary Network Africa, Clement Akolo, the communications officer, for additional perspective on this matter. Hello, Mr. Akolo, good morning, and thanks for having you on ABC in the morning. Okay, so we are still trying to establish contact with Mr. Clement Akolo, the communications officer for PN Africa. So just as we had a discussion in the previous topic, the contentions and then getting PCs or the parliamentary candidates being declared and then also sworn into parliament, we then want to take a look at what lies ahead with the 9th parliament, because we all know the ups, the downs, the weaknesses, the loopholes and the lapses that came with the 8th parliament. Many have said that the 8th parliament, one way or the other, is a blessing because it is yet to end on the 6th of January. It's a blessing. And some other scores of Ghanaians or section of the public also believes that the 8th parliament, it has not really lived up to the kind of expectation that Ghanaians wanted. Some also believe that yes, it has been the best of it all, especially when it has been an eye-opener to Ghanaians, knowing all the processes, the issues, the discussions that are being tabled in Parliament, knowing some of the articles. When you look at the G, the H, and then the 57, Article 57, then you come to the G, you come to the H. We talked about the removal of some 4 MPs. That is the Suhum MP, that is Kwadwo Asante, who was then on the ticket of the MPP and then went his way to be an independent candidate. And then when you go to Gomwa West, where we had the former gender minister, Honorable Cynthia Mamle Morrison, also falling out and going her way, parting ways with the NPP to vie on the position as the independent candidate. And then we also have the comeback of Honorable Esiama, the Deputy Speaker of Parliament, Honorable Esiama, cross-carpeting to join the NPP again. He was actually the NPP member, and then there were issues and controversies at Fomina, and then he decided to go independent. Now he wants to go back, which he has joined the party back. So these 3, in addition to one other MP, were all part, and that gave rise to all the tensions and the drama that we saw in the 8th parliament. We are going into the 9th parliament. The 8th parliament, we have 137 MPP, 137 NDC, and then 1 independent, which eventually joined the majority side, that is the MPP. Now, the NDC is having the super majority, and then the MPP is below 100. We want to know from the experts how this is going to pan out 2025 January, when the new government of the NDC takes over. Mr. Akolo is on the line. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, my dear.
Okay. Thanks for having you on ABC in the morning. Before you joined, I was actually doing some analysis of the 8th parliament and then the 9th parliament. You being the expert, what do you make of the numbers that is playing with the MPP and then the NDC going into the 9th parliament?
All right, thank you very much. It appears that we are tasting sweet taste going into the 9th parliament, having just left the 8th parliament that was very close and let me say a hung parliament sort of, where people couldn't really comprehend how workings of parliament would be like. And then all of a sudden we have an avalanche of support for one party against the other, which is overwhelming in the next parliament. And be that as it may, we know that when there is an overwhelming majority for the governing party intends to have a smooth sailing in parliament. Most of its businesses go through the parliament without a lot of challenges from the other side, because they will always use their numbers to get things going through. So that's what the 9th parliament is looking like. It's looking like the governing party, the National Democratic Congress, is going to have a smooth sailing in parliament. But for us as parliamentary watchers, and who speak on behalf of the people, we are not too comfortable with that. And so we would actually urge the governing, that is the new one that is coming, to be responsible with their majority, because it tends to make them feel too proud to consult the other parties in parliament, and which does not give benefits of legislative scrutiny, because that's why parliament is there. If parliament is not there to do the scrutiny that is required, then that is where the term comes, and they often say that parliament is now a toothless bulldog, or parliament is not being assertive with itself and all that. But we are hoping that that will not be the story going into the next parliament, and then they will be very responsible with their majority come the ninth parliament.
Okay, so Mr. Akolo, because of the time, I would like to ask you just one last question, then I'll let you go. Instances where now, just as you have mentioned, we have the NDC with overwhelming number. How will Ghanaians hold the majority, the supermajority in the NDC? How are they supposed to hold them accountable? How are they supposed to support the MPP side of the house to ensure that every deal, every contract doesn't just go through like that?
Yes, so the onus is on us as civil society organizations that are watching the space, and then on the media, such as yourselves, to actually help the minority to hold the government into check. Because without us participating in this particular process, we get the situation that has been in the past, where by the time a particular government leaves the scene, a particular government with supermajority leaves the scene, we realize that a lot of damage has been done with regards to governance. So that's why we call on citizens to be participatory in the decision-making processes. Thankfully, we have a parliament that is open and allows citizens to participate in the processes, as going to parliament on a daily basis. Whenever they are sitting, you can go there. You can also be consulting with your members of parliament to know exactly what is going on the floor of parliament, and then also initiate legislation to stem the tide of certain things that are not going right. That is, getting your members of parliament to make use of the private members bill regime now, and then also make sure that whenever there is a committee is calling for an input into a bill or something like that, you write or you go there to the hearing and add your voice to whatever the committee is doing. That will definitely come to the floor of parliament. And all those things, let us be interested in it. And then you as the media who are also watching, because whatever goes on in parliament, it is through you that it gets to the people. So when you hammer the most important points and you highlight those things that must get the attention of the people, then the people become interested, and then the people also put pressure on the political class to be able to get the right thing done.
Okay, Mr. Akolo, I actually wanted to ask a last question, but because of the time, I'll let you go, and then maybe some other time we'll come to you. Because you did mention that Ghanaians must be active. They shouldn't be passive. We heard the president, the outgoing president, saying that Ghanaians should not be spectators. They have to be citizens. So if Ghanaians are to be citizens again, that means that we have to put in certain measures. And then the CSOs also have a lot of work to do to ensure that Ghanaians being active, it will not just be a meaningless being activeness, but then it will actually result into something positive.
Yes, exactly. You know, the way Ghanaians overwhelmingly went to the polls to vote and to influence the outcome of Parliament and even the presidency. We should not leave our civic duties only for at the end of the 4 years to go and thumbprint and then elect somebody. Let's continue with this civic duty by being interested in everything that goes on in Parliament, everything political that affects our life. Let's be serious about it. Let's take our civic duties very seriously and ensure that accountability is rendered day in, day out, not at the end of every 4 years.
Okay. Thank you so much, Mr. Clement Aklo of the Parliamentary Network Africa. He is the communications officer for the Parliamentary Watchers. So thank you so much for your time. That is all for the main discussion. We looked at the contentions of some of the constituencies, and then also we went straight to Parliament. We want to anticipate what will happen on Monday, the 16th of December. Is it going to be a showdown? Is it going to be dramatic? Is it going to be a serious business? Will the majority now accept? The minority, the NDC, will they now accept to go and sit at the minority side, and then the majority, being the MPP, enjoy their last minute powers or the authority in the House? Thank you, and that is all for the main discussion. Up next is Politics Today with Samuel Nimabu.
Hello, good morning. You're welcome to Politics Today with me, Samuel Nyimabo. Today, again, we are back with you to do another review of the 2024 elections. Today, we are turning our attention to the Ashanti region. Now, the region that is known as the World Bank of the New Patriotic Party. This year, it didn't turn out so, as the New Patriotic Party struggled to maintain their dominance in the regions. They saw a very big drop in the results they have in the Ashanti region, and as a result, it culminated into the defeat we saw the party suffer in both the parliamentary and the presidential elections. Now, the Ashanti region is known, like I mentioned, for its immense support to the New Patriotic Party in every year election. If you look at 1992 all the way to 2000, the New Patriotic Party has gotten their majority of the results from the Ashanti region. They have sailed through at every point in time where the party secure at least 70%, 70 to 75, between 70 to 75% of the vote in the Ashanti region. They win the ballot for that year, or they win the presidential elections for that year. If you look at 2020, if you look at the 2000 elections, the 2004 elections, the New Patriotic Party had over 70% in the Ashanti region. But in 2012, they saw a drop in their percentage of the results and even the nominal values, which led to the loss of the party in those successive years. Then we came in 2016, they won very hugely in the Ashanti region. 2020, they maintained and had some 72% of the vote in the 2020 results. Then when we're coming to the 2024 elections, people expected that the New Patriotic Party will maintain their dominance, win big in the Ashanti region. And in terms of the Ashanti region, one key thing or one key factor has been the nominal value, the difference in the nominal values. Anytime the party wins with over 1 million votes in the last 4 elections, it has won the seat in the Ashanti region. So anytime the party, the New Patriotic Party wins with over 1 million votes in the Ashanti region, they go ahead to win the general elections. So this year, the party set a very ambitious dream of winning some 80 to 85% of the vote. It didn't turn out so. At the end of the day, at the end of the elections, per the results we have gathered from the Electoral Commission, these are official results from the Electoral Commission, out of 46 out of 47 constituencies that have been declared in the Ashanti region, 1 still remain contentious in the Ashanti region. The New Patriotic Party has had 1,366,800 votes in the Ashanti region. 1,366,800 votes in the Ashanti region. That is some 63.99% of the vote in the Ashanti region. The GCPP candidate, as you can see, that is the official pen sheet in the the official pink sheet from the Electoral Commission. This is found on the website of the Electoral Commission. So we are going to be speaking to these figures. Now you look at, like I mentioned, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia got 1,366,800 votes in the Ashanti region, making up some 63.99%. Then you have Daniel Augustus Lati of the GCPP having 1,608 votes. Now Ikeronko, we know, had none. All the votes that went to her were rejected, so it counted as none. Now Christian Kwabena Andrews of the GUM had 2,317 votes. Kofi Akpalu had 524 votes. Mohammed Frimpong of the NDP had 278 votes. Nana Frimpong Kuma Akusia had 2,651 votes. That is for the CPP. Then we have John Dramani Mahama of the NDC. For the first time in a long while, the NDC had 697,076 votes. That, if you look at the figure, if you look at the figure, 697,076 votes. The NDC have had some even higher than this in the Ashanti region. But if you look at the percentage of the vote, this is one of the highest they've had in the Ashanti region. They've had 32.63%. That figure, 697,076 votes, represent 32.63% of the vote in the Ashanti region. Reason why the NDC went ahead to win the 2024 elections, because if you're able to get 32% in the Ashanti region, then you're making headways, because that is the stronghold of your opponent. And if you're able to enter there and get 32%, that is huge. So we'll get to understand that. We'll come back to what played out and how the NDC amassed this 32% of the vote in the Ashanti region. Then Hassan Ayaga of the APC had 2,077 votes. You have Kofi Koranthe, independent candidate, having 252. Jochum Berima Edu, another independent candidate, 330 votes. Cheddar Nana Kwame Bediako, independent candidate, he had 23,432. That is a surprise, because Alan Kojo Chamantin of the Movement for Change, independent, coming from the Ashanti region, one person that people believe would have taken more of the vote from the NPP in the Ashanti region, only turned out to get 8,763 votes, whilst Nana Kwame Bediako Cheddar had 23,432 votes. That is almost triple the vote Alan Kojo Chamantin had in the Ashanti region. So that also speaks about the dominance of Kojo Chamantin, Alan, in the Ashanti region. People said he's lost it in the Ashanti region. Some people believe that heading into the elections that he was going to be the differential in the Ashanti region, taking the vote from the NPP. But he only had 8,763 votes, which is nowhere near a mark people expected him to get in the Ashanti region. So if you look at Alan's, that also brings into question. We saw before the elections, we saw him hold a lot of rallies in the Ashanti region, pulling a lot of crowd. Where is the crowd? That is a question you have to answer. You have to ask, where is the crowd? The crowd is missing, because he couldn't even get 10,000 votes in the Ashanti region. That is below the belt for Alan Kojo Chamantin. But if you look at the total valid vote in the Ashanti region, it amounted to 2,106,108 votes. Total rejected ballot, 29,865. So the rejected ballot was even more than Alan's ballot. And then the total vote cast in the Ashanti region. Let's keep our eye on that, because there is a lot of information out there that the Ashanti region didn't show up. There's a lot of misinformation out there that the Ashanti region people didn't vote. But the total vote cast in the Ashanti region is 2,135,973. These are official figures from the Electoral Commission. And this, as you see, these were the signatures, the parties who signed to the pink sheet of the Ashanti Region Coalition. These are the pink sheet, the declaration, and the parties who signed to it, you see the party agent for Mahamudu Bawumia signing. Then you see the party agent for John Dramani Mahama also signing, Kofi Koranten signing as well. Then Cheddar's party agent also appended his signature as well. But let's look at the figures. The figures from the EC says 2,135,973 persons casted their vote in the Ashanti region, as against the supposition that people didn't show up in the Ashanti region. The figures are showing something different, because this represents some 70.75% of the turnout in the Ashanti region, because Ashanti region had a voter population of about 3,019,000 and something plus vote. So it had a voter population heading into the elections of about 3,019,000 plus vote. At the end of the 2024 elections, for the presidential election, the total votes cast was 2 million, or the total vote turnout in terms of the nominal vote was 2,135,973, representing 70.75%. So the Ashanti region still came out to vote, just that it didn't vote in the numbers or in the quantum that it did in previous elections. Because in 2020, the Ashanti region had 82% turnout in the presidential elections. They had 82 percentage turnout in the presidential elections in that 2020 election. So if you look at the turnout, it means that it has dropped by some 12 percentage points from 2020 to 2024. Yes, that could lead, or that could be a reason why the NPP lost the election, because if that 12% also turned out to vote, it could have changed something for the New Patriotic Party, but perhaps it might not be huge, because if you look at what the NDC were also getting in the Ashanti region, it was huge, 32%. And for the NPP, they couldn't cross the mark they were looking for. They were looking for 80% of the vote in the Ashanti region. They couldn't get that. So it is the figures are showing something else, something different from what people have been saying all out there, that people didn't cast the vote in the Ashanti region, reasons why the NPP lost. The NPP lost because Ashanti didn't show up. It is not so. If it is anything to go by, the average turnout across the country was 60.9%. However, the turnout in the Ashanti region alone is 70.75%, which is above the average turnout. So it is not just the turnout that led to the NPP losing in the Ashanti region. Other reasons played hugely into their loss. Then we'll get to understand what those other reasons are. Because if you look at even the parliamentary elections, for the first time, the NPP have lost over, for the first time in the Ashanti region. They will not get even 40 seats in the Ashanti region, because the NDC, so far, because of the contention going on, so far, 8 of the seats has been won by the National Democratic Congress. The Ejura Secretary Masi seat, Adanse Asokwa won by the NDC, New Edubiasi won by the NDC. A lot of the seats they have so far have 8. So far they have 8 closing to 10 seats in the Ashanti region. So it is not just the turnout. Yes, the turnout played a factor, because if NPP were able to get people to come out and vote, I mean their supporters especially, to come out and vote, and they get at least 82% of the population coming to vote in the Ashanti region, that could have changed something for the New Patriotic Party. But the question is, will that alone suffice, knowing that the NDC were making inroads in the Ashanti region, winning some NPP were winning some some huge numbers in the Ashanti region, having some 32% plus of the vote in the Ashanti region. That is unprecedented. And now they have close to 10 seats because of the contention, where there are no official figures from the EC yet. But if the official ones are 8, if the unofficial comes to be official, then we can have the NDC is likely to have 10 and even 11 seats in the Ashanti region. There's one independent candidate also in the Ashanti region. So the NPP have lost the vote massively in the Ashanti region per their standard in the Ashanti region. This is a big loss for the party. Can the party rejuvenate itself, knowing the situation in the Ashanti region, the voter apathy, the issues that the people in the Ashanti region have tried to complain about? They believe their voices have not been heard. People have also complained. Our reports from the ground shows that a lot of people feel disappointed of the New Patriotic Party, reason why they didn't turn out to vote. Can the party gel up, prepare themselves for the 2028 elections and come back strongly, especially in the Ashanti region? Because the target has always been for the New Patriotic Party is to get over 1 million votes in the Ashanti region. Time will tell whether the party will get that 1 million plus vote in the 2028 elections. But for now, the figures are showing that it is not just the turnout that led to the loss of the New Patriotic Party in the Ashanti region, because the party, the region is one of the regions that have an average, more than average of the percentage turnout in the elections. So it is not just the turnout. There are other factors that have contributed to the loss, and the NPP should do a soul searching of their own to find out those. This is how we end politics today with me, Samuel Nyimabo. Right after this break, Happy Hour comes up next, and we have something special for you on Happy Hour.
thank God it's Friday, just as I said, from Monday to Tuesday to Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Friday is actually the holiday for workers because that is the day we celebrate, we jubilate, we enjoy, we go all out to wind down the stress and all the boredom. What is happiness for you? Tomorrow is Saturday. What are your plans for tomorrow? What are your plans for the festive season? Will you be going out? Will you be going for parties, for events, music concerts, and the rest? Happiness is happy hour. Thank you so much for staying with us. Yes, so just as I said, happy hour. I have some birthday wishes for some lovely people. Can we have them on the screens? So the first one goes to Equia Adobia Ado. A happy birthday to you from your parents, the youth ministry of TAC. And then the message, the Truth Apostolic Church. The message says that may your birthday be as heartwarming and beautiful as the love and compassion you bring into every life you touch. Have the best birthday. So this is coming from your parents, the youth ministry of the Truth Apostolic Church, to Equia Adobia Ado. And then the next one, we have another beautiful message on our screens. In fact, they have beautified our screen this morning. Happy birthday to Mrs. Lydia Ziniku. This is coming from the Success Squad. And the message is, happy birthday. May this year be the one where you conquer new heights and embrace every challenge. Happy birthday. May this year be the one where you conquer new heights and embrace every challenge. Happy birthday, Mrs. Lydia Ziniku. Let's go straight into the topic of discussion for happy hour. Yes, today we just want to look at something different. December in Ghana, it's something that you don't have to miss. We have a lot of events, MCs, they are everywhere. It is a cocoa season, so I want to engage one of the MCs to tell us more about the industry. And then actually, when you look at the elections for 2024 elections, the creative art industry, so far we have 4 of the MPs elect going to parliament. And then the questions many are asking is that going to change the face of the creative art industry? What dynamism is that going to bring? Are they going to parliament because they just wanted to contest for their voices to be heard, or they are representing the industry? Are they going to represent the industry or the challenges with the industry, or they are going to represent their people? So Kwame Asari Obin, who is also known as A+, the MP elect for Gomwa Central on the ticket, he is an independent candidate. He is a musician and then also a pundit, an entertainment pundit. He said yesterday on one of the media channels, or the media channels, he had an interview, and then he said he's not going to parliament basically because to champion the cause of the creative art industry. He's not there to do that. He's there to champion the cause, the concerns, the challenges, the underdevelopmental issues in Gomwa Central. And then we also have E.B. Bright, who contested on the ticket of the NDC, Tema Central, whose declaration has been so contentious to the extent that the electoral officer at the Tema Metro of Osuhini issued a statement that the Electoral Commission should nullify her declaration because he was under duress. So E.B. Bright, for the 3rd time of contesting on the ticket of the NDC, Tema Central, is also representing her constituents in Parliament. Is she also going to champion the causes of creative art industry? And then also we also have John Dumelu of Ayawaso West Wuogon, who also contested against the MPP's Lydia Forson. He is an actor, and he calls himself the farmer, John the Farmer. He's into farming as well. And then we also have Baba Sadiq. He was then owning the 3 Music. He was having events, entertainment issues and all that. And he's also a guru in the creative art industry. He represents the Okankwe Central constituency, where Patrick Abuama is taking the case to court. I have with me Amasan. Yes, I call him Amasan. Gabriel Ni Amasan. He joins me on Zoom. So to have a discussion, we want to know, he's an MC, and this is the cocoa season for the MC roles and their duties and all that. Hello, Amasa, can you hear me? Good morning.
Yes, please, I can hear you. Good morning.
I would love to see you. I would love to see you. Great. So December in Ghana, December to remember. What is happening in the creative art industry? Before you joined, I was actually mentioning 4 key creative art industry players going to Parliament. From your side, and from where you sit, how do you take this? How do you welcome this news?
Okay, so I think it's a very good thing that first time we have 4 young creatives in Parliament, starting with John Seto Dumelo from the Ayawa Society. We also have my very good friend Baba Sadiq, and also A-Blast, and to add up to it, Eddie Bright from Tema, who used to be one of the very good Ghanaian actresses. Even though she hasn't acted for some time now, she's still one of the creatives. Once a soldier, always a soldier. Once an actress, always a creative. So from us in the media industry or from the entertainment and the creative industry, we are very happy that we have a representation, not just the men, but also with a woman that can also fight for the creative industry. Because over the years, we've seen how bad creatives have been treated. Even somewhere last 2 years, we heard that event MCs, you are supposed to pay tax upon the events we actually MC. And I'm like, wow. So now that People's Party are in power, that is these creatives, Baba Sadiq and Eddie Bright and Jumelo, their party is in power. We want to see change. We want to see change in the creative industry. We want it to be more creative so that we can invite more people. Year of return, we are still doing the year of return, and this is the 30th December ever.
Yeah, hello, Amasa.
Yes,
Amasa, if you can hear me, I was actually asking, how dirty would this year, December to remember, be? How dirty would
thank you very much. So this year's 30 December is more dirty because almost all the musicians or artists have actually planned their own events and they are making it happen. So let me just go through some of them. So the first one is on the 18th of December. That's Revival Concepts by Smoke at the Good Park, Accra Mall, followed by the 21st of December. Kofi Kinata is made in This is the so after 3 years that the event has gone off, it is returning. Made in is happening this year, 21st of December inside Takrady, the sports club, and also that same day, Black Sheriff is having his Zama Disco concerts. Black Sheriff is having this event at Entertainment Empire on the Peters Road. Obi Afonso, a comedian, is also having his 10th anniversary in comedy. So he's having a boxing kind of comedy show at the Jamestown, what's the name? The Jamestown Bukom Sports Arena. On the 22nd, Being President Stonebwoy is having this event. That's the Big Fest at the La Palm Royal Beach Hotel. The following day, that's on the 22nd, the Sunday, Manifest is having his manifesting event at the Good Park Accra Mall. Saturday, over the comedy, Michael Owusu is also having his Rapaholic. He has been having Rapaholic for so many years, and this year it's coming again. That's on the 24th at the Accra International Conference Center. That's the big arena, the main arena. Now we also have on the 26th, AMG Boss, AMG Medical. Yes, so Medical is also having this medical beyond control events. Yes, and Afro Future, which used to call Afro Culture and Afro Nation, Afro Future is having their events. That's it. This time they are not doing it at the Elwa Sports Stadium, but they are taking it to the beach. So they are having the Afro Future Culture Beach Jam happening at the Polo Beach Club, La Paz Hotel or La Pleasure Beach Hotel. It's between the two. So yeah. Now, Promised Land by King Promise. King Promise promises us to give us more after giving us the Adila 10 minutes. He wants to give us another event, which is the Promised Land DMV Accra takeover by Starbucks and California organized also happening at one of the nightclubs in Ondi, East Legon, Sprintex thereabouts. That's followed by 1st of January, Kwame Eugene. Kwame Eugene will be having this event. Let the children come to Eugene at the Elwha Sports Stadium. This event is going to be mad. I'm one of the MCs on the event. And last but not the least, at the Report Hotel, we'll be having a cake and sip with 7 cakes and myself, MC Amasaf Nansen, making sure people come in, they raise cake once and they enjoy good music, have fun, meet new people, meet new friends, and everything. So these are some of the events that have been slated. I mentioned this one because they are related to the creatives. Other people are also having some more events, some I can't mention because of time. But I believe this December is going to be the if you have money, go look for money because NDC is in power. MPP is still in power. I mean, NDC is coming, but MPP is still in power. So there is more money in the system. Everybody go look for money. Call your friends. The UK people are coming, the American people are coming. Even the Nigerians, the video cool. They always spend December in Ghana, and that is it for now.
Oh wow, so I can see that the list goes on and on and on. But I didn't hear anything from the comedian side. I mean the comic, those in the comedy industry. No play, the Bo Whites, ABM Concern and the rest.
Okay, so as I mentioned earlier, ABM Concern is having his comedy show at the Bukom Sports Arena, and that is to celebrate his 10th anniversary. It's not just the only one that will be on stage. There will be other comedians like comedian Warren, his best friend, that short man, that's the name I call it. Let's see, the comedians are coming to make sure we have a blast, laugh throughout the whole event, and that is for the comedy side. For the musician side, as I mentioned, Sam Kodia Shatawale has mentioned that he'll be having an event, but we don't know for now the date or where he'll be having the event. So there are more. Myself, I may have booking starting from next week all the way to 2nd of January. That is how good the country has been. I think Nanado has done very well for helping the places to do like express themselves more. And I hope that when John Mahama also comes into power, he also make sure it's also working better for us. Yes.
Amasa, thank you so much for doing this with me. I can actually see that the creative industry, you guys are very political, because the way you are sounding, I can see that you are sounding very political, because the NDC is in power, and then it's more like, yeah, the NDC is in power, so definitely Kromberg, you know. But don't forget, we've had that in December, previous years, the year of return was a no-go area. In fact, MPP is still in power. Chrome Ayeden. Ghana is so sweet. So thank you so much for doing this with me. That is my colleague Ni Amasa with me, who came through with the creative art industry, the discussions, the MPs elect, and all the events that you have to plan for this festive season. Before I take off a leave of you, let me thank our audience, ABC News GH audience. We say thank you so much for sticking and staying with us throughout the week, from Monday to today being Friday, keeping glued to our set for all the exclusives and all the election related coverage we brought your way throughout the week. We say thank you so much. We also thank our production team, the technicians, the technical team, the production assistants. We say thank you so much. Before I leave, let me leave you with this. A lie can travel halfway around the world, while the truth is still putting on its shoes. A lie can travel halfway around the world, while the truth is still putting on its shoes. On this note, thank you to our guests. My name is Ohimia Amponsa. Thank you so much. Do have a